Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. I'm joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Emilio in Tennessee. Here to talk some Packers, here to talk Packers Cowboys specifically, as we're going to break down a ton of information for you guys and gals this evening. Obviously, it's Wednesday, so we got the injury report. We'll dive into that, give you guys an update on what the Cowboys injury report looks like, what the Packers injury report looks like. We got Adam Schefter tweets that have just fired off a few hours ago in relation to Zach Tom and other players. So we'll dive into that. We're also going to jump into the PFF preview of the Packers at the Cowboys. They're set for Sunday Night Football this weekend. And we're going to talk offense. We're going to talk defense. What does our offense look like stacked up against their defense? What does their defense look like stacked up against our stellar offense? It's going to be an absolute blast. So we're just going to dive into it all. If we have time, we'll start to dip our toe into the game plan. If you guys remember on our Patreon group, you've probably already seen that, which it's going to get even more in-depth every single week that we break down the upcoming game. You can check that out at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. Now, first, let's get that YouTube stuff out of the way. Hit like for us, hit subscribe. I hate asking, but guys, it helps. It helps more than you know. Helps boost the algorithm, lets other people know on YouTube, hey, you should check this out if you're a Packers fan. So we greatly appreciate that. If you're new here, welcome into PTA. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for daily content without the food takes, without your favorite TV show, I got an awesome text from a listener viewer earlier today. It was like, man, thank you for just bypassing all the BS and talking about the stuff that matters around the Packers. So that's one of the greatest compliments we can get. If you're looking for that type of content straightforward, make sure you hit subscribe and click the bell icon so you're notified when we do go live in the future. Boys, how are we doing? And listen, I know he's going to hate it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Breaking news. Emilio turns the big 3-0 today. Give him a round of applause, everybody.
Hey, happy birthday. You're 30. Goody's sending you your walking papers already.
Too old. Wild to think I'd have to hang it up right now.
I'll see you later tonight for your spankings.
We said that offline, and Tim said, all right, that's it. Get your ass out of here. You're 30 years old. We're moving on. So.
I can't even get my third contract. I'm at the last year or two. Hopefully somebody picks me up kind of thing. That's brutal.
Boz says, congrats, great boy. All right. So enough of that. Again, happy birthday, buddy. We're glad to have you on the show, man. It's a blessing to call you a friend and get to know you as much as we have. It's been a lot of fun. So, all right, man. Let's. I was almost 40 when he was born. Said Dead Fish. Nice, good stuff, Dead Fish. United Bates say, Clayton, here's $10 since it's Emilio's birthday.
I'll be checking to make sure that comes through on the transfer there. I'll be making sure.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Bates. You're too kind, buddy. Appreciate you, man. All right, let's get into it, boys. Let's talk a little injury report here. I've never been so happy to get the news that we got on an injured player for the Packers. You know, last week we were talking about, boy, we don't want to see Zach Tom playing this week because of the oblique. Let him rest up. Well, we'll kind of skip ahead here a little bit. As Matt Schneidman said, Zach Tom with the oblique, Aaron Banks with the groin, and Javon Bullard in concussion protocol. All three of those players did not practice today. And then Adam Schefter fired out a tweet roughly 7 hours ago. Packers right tackle Zach Tom is not expected to play Sunday night versus the Cowboys due to the oblique injury he suffered in the loss at Cleveland. Per source, Green Bay has a bye next week to reassess how Tom is feeling and whether he can return in Week 6 versus the Bengals. Let's go around the horn with that one before we dive into the rest of the injury report, gents. I'm happy about this, man. Set that man down. And listen, I don't care if it results in a loss this week. Having Zach Tom healthy and finally getting that oblique injury behind him, I think is the most important priority here.
I agree. And I mean, Shefty's not wrong here, but it's a little deceiving, right? I don't know if he suffered the oblique injury in Cleveland. Right. He already had an oblique injury and shouldn't have been out there. Lasted one snap. So hopefully at this point, we've learned our lesson, right? Let's hold this man out until he's, as close to 100% and can really go. I'm assuming that what he's got going on is extremely painful, and it's extremely difficult to play through something like that. And, you got to tip your cap to Zach Tom for trying to grit through that. We saw some of the practice footage. He was moving pretty gingerly on the practice field and still tried to make a go of it. But I think the best course of action is to give him an extended bye week here and hold him out in Dallas. And give me big Escalade out there. Let me see 71,
yes.
Anthony Belton. Go ahead and give him the start. Let's throw him into the fire and see if he can hold that spot down until we get Zach Tom back. That's how I feel.
Yeah. What about you, Jacob? How you feeling about it, man?
Yeah, I'm totally down with that. It was a shame I don't want to say we forced him back. Whatever the conversation was, he went in. It was one play. It looked terrible. To Jen's point, like, it was hard to see him so emotional on the sideline because you could tell that that's a dude that just wanted to come out there and play for his team, and he just physically couldn't. And that's something I never want to put up. I say I as if I'm the GM over here. By the way, if I am Goody, you're out of here, Emilio. I'm just thinking that it is something that we have to stop and think about. And, I sit him for a week if he needs 2 weeks, sit him for 2 weeks, whatever the case is. To Clayton's point, I want to see him down the stretch more than I need him right now.
Yeah. And reading Adam's tweet, it's, Zach Tom not expected to play Sunday. Then helps to reassess how Tom's feeling and whether he can return to week 6 at the Bengals. It's like, hey, is he playing this weekend or is he not? At this point, just tell us that he's out. We already know that we should have sat him last week. So, I don't know why we're trying to force it. It's early. We got an early bye. We were worried about the early bye in the off season when we first got the schedule. Now we're kind of happy about it. It's going to get us a chance to, get squared away and figure out what needs to happen. But yeah, sit the man down, let him rest. We've drafted, we've brought in a couple guys. Obviously, our biggest issue is Glover's not out there to step in and take that spot. So if we don't have Glover, I'd say let's get Belton out there. Canardi, if he steps up, we'll keep him out there. But we need to be able to rotate that tackle there. We need someone that can fill in.
Yeah, shout out to John Baker, became a member here on YouTube. Appreciate you, John. We will make sure you're in the giveaway this week, which we're going to be spinning the pinky wheel and giving away an autographed Lucas Van Ness rookie card. And it's actually a picture of him. The picture on the card, it says Leaf Draft 2023. It's got him in his Iowa uniform. Really, really cool piece of memorabilia there. I don't know if you could see it well enough or not, but anybody who's a member on YouTube or a member of our Patreon group, the $3 tier or higher, we'll make sure that we put your name into the hat and just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. Appreciate you, John. In terms of right tackle, since this kind of goes with the conversation, we'll spend a couple minutes on this. I want to go around the horn real quick. I think I've got a hot take here, and it might not be so hot to you guys, but the fact that Jordan Morgan was a first-round pick, I think many Packer fans will go, what are you talking about? I don't want to see Jordan Morgan back on the field unless he's playing left tackle. And listen, I understand it was a first-round pick and this and that. And when I say that, I mean, listen, if your starter goes down, yes, play him in another position. That's cool. But I do not want to see him starting on the offensive line unless he's playing left tackle. I'm not saying he should start over Rashid, although I would love to see what that looks like, because Quay Walker is praying to sweet baby Jesus, or thanking sweet baby Jesus that Jordan Morgan is on this team, because Jordan Morgan is catching the rap of this fan base in terms of the offensive line that people are kind of piling on right now. Quay Walker played like cheeks the other night. So I feel like I would like to see Jordan Morgan play left tackle and then fit Quay Walker in wherever. Who knows? Jordan Morgan may go out there and lay an egg, but based off what we've heard him say, what we've heard the team say, and what we've seen in preseason, to me, he looks like a totally different football player at left tackle. And again, I'm not saying that he should be the third or fourth backup at any position. I'm simply saying if all the starters, all 5 starters are healthy, I want him to just be the backup left tackle and go with it. So what you guys said about Zach Tom being out, I think, Jacob, you were the one who said it, get Anthony Belton out there. I'm completely on board with that. Belton or Kennard, and stop playing these games with Jordan Morgan. He is not a right side offensive lineman.
Yep.
And people are probably going, man, Clayton's coming down hard on Morgan. I'm not. I'm actually defending him. It's absolute ass cheeks that he's kind of, you're ruining his confidence. You're destroying a young player who I think will be a great left tackle because you just want to kind of be cute and fit him in here or there. I don't know how you guys
feel obligated because you picked him in the first round, and you're putting this unnecessary pressure on yourself to make him see the field, and it's hurting your football team. It's not just hurting Jordan Morgan. I think it's hurting us offensively as well, and it's doing a disservice to him as a player. I think you're right about that, Clay. I mean, left guard even looked shaky for him. I mean, he is a pure left tackle. And I think it's evident and obvious at this point, right?
Yeah, and that's what the chat's pretty much saying. Coach Lynn says you just keep Morgan on the left side, period. I can tolerate that, Coach. I'm with you there, right? And then H.E. Solder said, I can take Morgan at left guard because it is that left side, right? And that way you can continue to hone those skills, Jacob, as you potentially step into the left tackle spot next year, rather than trying to relearn the footwork on the right side and all this and that. So what do you think, Jacob? How do you feel about that, man?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Walker has at least deserved up to this point to still maybe keep that start and see if he can bounce back and prove us all wrong. Because let's not forget, that whole starting line was booty cheeks. And it was tough to watch. Even the backups, obviously Tom having that zero passing grade from PFF, obviously not his fault when you go out after one play. I agree with chat and what Tim was saying. I want to see Belton on that right-hand side. I mean, that's what we drafted him for. We got Morgan for the left side, specifically left tackle. Obviously, if Sheed's good to go, I think left guard is the next best thing for him. We talk about how a lot of people think you can just switch from one side to the other. That's just not the case. The old adage goes, you ever try to switch wipe in your hand with the other hand? It doesn't go too well sometimes. So for him to just expect to be plugged in and played and to perform well is just not fair. Not fair for him, regardless if he's a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick. In Belton's case, these guys have a specific and a preferred position. I think that Jordan Morgan is even on record saying, I want to play left tackle. That's what I played most of my life. So I think that we got to put him in a position to succeed, not to fail.
Yeah, Billy, I want to get your take, but the prerequisite here that you cannot mention Travis Glover. Go ahead, sir.
Oh,
it's his birthday.
That was like the peak of my argument. Anyway, it's Morgan's kick step just seems so much more comfortable when he's kick stepping with his back left. It seems unbelievably more comfortable for him. And even when he was on the right tackle side, he can get out in space. They did a little toss crack or whatever it was to Jacobs, and he got on the outside and he closed on that corner and sandwiched the guy. So it's like he has that ability. He's mobile, but his left side kick step is 1,000 times better than his right, and I think it just feels a lot more comfortable. I said before this week, as far as I want him to go is right guard. We bring him over to right tackle, and honestly, let's just remove that right guard. I'm where Coach is. Was going to say, yeah, let's not move him past left guard and just bounce him between those two. But then you're looking at, hey, you've kind of banked on Rasheed Walker playing, and you paid Aaron Banks, so someone's going to have to be losing their spot if that's really what we want from Morgan.
Chase Green says, hey, Clayton, I like Belton at right tackle. Let's run some pin and pull with Belton lead block backers. Hey, see, that's the epitome of put a player in position to do what he does well. That's the type of offensive lineman he is. He's a physical guy. We've seen him get out there and pancake backers and safeties in the preseason, right? That's what he does well. Put all these guys, try to put every player on that field in the best position to do what they do best, right? That should be the ultimate goal. And I understand, listen, you got to ask these guys to do things that they maybe aren't as good at doing. That's the game of football. But the game plan should be geared around it's just, I use this analogy all the time, but it's like sighting in a rifle. It's okay, that didn't work. Let's go back 2 more clicks here and getting that thing zeroed into where the whole unit, right? The offense as a whole and defensively as well. Everyone, you've got them as close to the center as possible for this thing to work the way it's supposed to work. It's easier said than done, but I agree with what you're saying there, Chase, for sure. Moving along to the rest of the injury report here. Let's just rattle through it real quick. I've got a couple chats marked. We'll hit that, and then we'll move on to the PFF preview. So Aaron Banks did not participate with the groin. Anthony Belton was limited with the ankle. Carl Brooks limited with the foot. Javon Bullard still in concussion protocol, so he did not practice. You got John Fitzpatrick with the groin is limited. Nate Hobbs, full participation there, still kind of recovering from the knee. Josh Jacobs with the ankle limited. Tucker Kraft with the knee/elbow limited. You got Jordan Love with the left thumb, full participation. Bo Melton, full participation. So Bo Melton's about to come off of that off the injury report, I would imagine, here real soon. Micah Parsons limited with a back injury. Maybe that's what we were seeing there on Sunday, guys. Remember we talked about he looked exhausted. He looked, kind of on the sideline. You could see him kneeling down, almost looked like he was hurt or stretching. Then we thought, I guess he was exhausted. Maybe there was a little tweak in the back there. That would make sense. Zach Tom with the oblique obviously did not participate. Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt were both limited. Walker had a quadricep and Devontae Wyatt had the knee, but it sounds like they feel pretty good about where Devontae Wyatt is. I was a little concerned with him coming out of that game. Now, in terms of the Dallas Cowboys, you got Tyler Booker, tackle with the ankle, did not participate. He's pretty much going to be out, it sounds like, to the best of my knowledge. He had a high ankle sprain. Same thing with CeeDee Lamb, not participating. I believe both of them were diagnosed with a high ankle sprain, probably 3 to 4 week injury, so you don't have to worry about those two guys this week. You got Deron Bland, who was limited with the foot. Trequezie Bridges, cornerback with the knee, limited. And then Trayvon Diggs, cornerback with the knee, did not participate. Dallas is banged up. It's funny, you look at our injury report and you look at theirs and you think, oh, we're in trouble. I kind of feel like it's the opposite. They got some key players that are pretty much guaranteed to miss this game, as were the Packers. You're going to kind of mix and match some of this offensive line. You guys got anything else you want to add there to the injury report, boys?
No, I would agree with your point about Dallas. I mean, the list is shorter, but it looks a little bit more serious. And, guys that are limited or not participating at all, compared to our list where we've got guys that are getting back to full participation. You got guys like Bullard, protocol kind of issue. That's a day-to-day thing. Let's see if he clears. There is a chance he clears and plays Sunday. We've seen that. We saw that with Quay last year, had a nasty concussion and played the next week, was able to clear the protocol and not miss a game. So it does happen. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about Diggs and Lamb. Those are two key players, both sides of the ball for Dallas. So I think the injury bug is probably going to affect them a little bit more than us.
Definitely. All right. Anything else, boys? You good?
Just worried about Bull, hoping he's all right.
Yeah.
Get that concussion, make sure that he's all good. Because I just love the way he plays, man. He is not afraid to stick his nose in there and make a tackle, close in on a guy. And he's been playing pretty. I mean, not his grades might not be the best, but I feel like he's been playing pretty decent there in the slot. So just hoping he gets back.
To me, the thing that scares me about Bullard is he's kind of in between, right? It's like he's a linebacker stuck in a corner's body, right? So his coverage isn't good enough to really play a very high level of corner or safety. His strength is in the run game, but, when you're asked to play the slot, man, this league is tough. You got people, especially in the north, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? You got DJ Moore in Chicago. You've got, I'm sure, and Vikings are about to get Jordan Addison back, right? They moved JJ around, and then they got Addison that plays the slot a lot as well. So it's tough, man. It is. I'm with you though, Amelia. I love the way he plays the run, man, for sure. Let's go to the chat real quick and wipe these out. Daryl, good to see you, buddy. I was worried about you a couple episodes ago, man. Good to see you. And I know you were in here last night. I didn't get a chance to shout you out. He says he's viewing or watching this live chat on a bigger screen, and it's so cool seeing all the comments go through on there. That's awesome. They got it on the big screen tonight. Got PTA up. I love the setup. Who was it the other day that showed the setup for the game? They were our pregame show, and then they had something else on another TV in their living room, 2 big screen TVs.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who that was. That wasn't CJN, was it?
It might have been. Yeah. But Jay Cole says, thank goodness for this show. I've dealt with a bunch of emotional as fans today. Man, I'll tell you, I don't want to spend any time on the show talking about it, to be honest with you, Jay. But thank you for the compliment. Yeah, it's rough out there on them Twitter streets. I know that, man. You literally go from we're winning the Super Bowl to fire everybody in the damn building in 1 week from a 3-point
fan right here.
Brambo says y'all are kind of overreacting to a terrible week. See, that's what's hilarious too, is he's saying we're overreacting to a terrible week, and you would not believe the messages I've got that's telling me that I'm being fake and not being hard enough on the team, that this was a horrible So, Brambo, I would love for you to meet the people that are telling me I'm being too easy on the team. So that would be really cool. But anyway, appreciate you hopping in here tonight, man. Nick McSwain says, does it seem like anyone here is overreacting? LOL, we have potentially 2 missing linemen. And again, man, everybody's dealing with injuries, right, Nick? But if you see it, you got to say it, And that was a good defensive line. That was a damn good defensive line. I mean, you heard Baldy say he thinks it's the best defense in the league. I'm a little too drunk to taste that chicken, but I do think they're top 5. Ed Madden said Belton has a nasty streak I love. Completely agree with that comment as well, man. Belton's a lot of fun to watch for sure. Now, with that nasty streak, what do you get, guys? Undisciplined football sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Jacob knows all about it, man.
Yeah.
Jacob knows all about it. Some of the best employees out at the office, they're a little aggressive, right, Jacob?
We got to put them in their place, Clayton. You know what?
What are you talking about? That's my job.
BTA, baby. BTA.
Built to ass.
Built to ass.
I love it.
BTA.
All right,
Know what I'm saying?
Emilio, were you gonna say anything else?
No, I was just saying that's probably what happens when he gets his big paws on him. But yeah, no, Belton's mean.
Got it, man. All right, let's jump into the PFF preview. We hit on it a little bit earlier, I believe, in the week, but let's dive into it a little bit deeper here. So, there's a multiple angles we could take here as we do every week. Let's start with the gambling odds. You guys know we pay a lot of attention to this. Last week, I kind of gave out a little, what am I trying to say here? Advice without giving out advice that if this wasn't a Packer game, I would take the Browns plus the points. It just kind of felt like it was teed up to be a lot closer than what people were thinking. And typically, if you don't follow the public, you'll come out on the winning end pretty often. There's a reason that these guys in Vegas, they can afford those to give out those free drinks with pretty low umbrellas in them, right? I was told that when I was 18 years old, getting introduced to the gambling community, and I went, "That's a cute little saying. Don't know what the hell it means." I know what it means now at the age of 43. They know what they're doing when they're setting these lines. So the line out of the gate, it started that the Packers were 7-point favorites, and now it is officially at 6.5 according to the market here on PFF. PFF has it much closer than that at a plus 5.9 as they break it down into 10ths, I guess you could say there in that regard. So what do you guys think about that line, man? It's very, very close to where the Browns line was, right? That's why you got to be careful and not count your chickens before they hatch.
Yeah, I mean, I know personally I'm not touching any action on this game. I've learned last week I've learned a lesson being definitely way too overly optimistic and thinking that this was a gimme game. I honestly didn't once think that we would lose this game. I just didn't. And, the NFL is not for long for a reason. I mean, it changes every week. And I think that I'm going this with a big old slice of humble pie, and I'm going to try to eat it and stay calm and collected. And hopefully we put together 4 complete quarters of football and we come out with a victory. And then I'll maybe have a little more optimism heading into some bye and getting these guys healthy that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Me? I wasn't sure where we were heading with that, but yeah, it's it's a battle. S.A. Clayton said he's not sure, man. He's a little worried about the team. He said it's going to be weird seeing Micah there.
Tell him who S.A. is, first of all. Tell me who
S.A. is my dad.
Your Padre, right?
He was
Yeah,
the
my
best
Padre,
guy around.
Is that really what Padre means? Is pops or something, Dad?
Yeah, but SA just rolls off the tongue so much better.
It
I mean,
does,
and you can be in a crowd and just yell SA and get it. You can get attention kind of thing. But yeah, I think you're right. It's tough to just kind of jump on the the points and all that stuff like that. I just want to see this team go out there and kind of make sure that you can kind of brush your teeth after that one and get on to the next one, because it's you got that taste in your mouth. We got to get past that.
All right, moving along here, just let's focus on the money for just a second, okay? The spread, right? Packers, way it sits right now, 6.5-point favorites. So right now you've got 84% of the money on the Packers to cover that 6.5-point spread. That scares me a little bit, right? Doesn't mean I'm scared that the Packers are going to lose. It just simply means, boy, oh boy, that's a lot of money on people thinking the Packers are going to cover that 6.5, basically meaning they're going to win by 7 points or more, right? And then the bets, the slips themselves, 65% there. So it's the public's really, really heavy on the Packers minus 6.5. Now, when you look
65%. 65%. That's what
the money line's even heavier. Now, you notice the juice here is 267 on Dallas, but look at the percentage of the money, guys. 95% of the public's money is saying the Packers are going to win this one outright, and then you've got 90% of the bets are on the Packers to win outright. So you've got the slips, 90%, the money overall, 95%. The public is really, really heavy on the Packers to win this game. So let's jump over and look at the team metrics real quick before we get into some lineup matchups. Tim, I want to get your take on this. They've got the Packers ranked 4th overall, and they got the Cowboys ranked 22nd overall. Power ranking on defense, the Packers are 3rd in the NFL. The Cowboys are 31st. Power ranking on offense, they got the Packers at 12, the Cowboys at 14. Strength of schedule played so far, pretty darn close. to being even here. Packers have played the 13th toughest schedule according to PFF. The Cowboys have played the 17th toughest schedule. Average offensive snaps for the Packers is 62.7. The Cowboys are getting an average of 13 more snaps per game on offense than the Packers. Percentage of run, the Packers are at 47.3%. The Cowboys are only at 31.8% because they're trailing a lot because their defense has been struggling so bad. So obviously the percentage of passing, the Packers are at 52.7, and you got the Cowboys at 68.2. EPA per run, the Packers are negative 0.15. The Cowboys are negative 0.03. So according to expected points added, the Cowboys have a more efficient running game than the Packers. However, you got to also take into consideration that how often they're losing as well, right? Yep. So that plays in a little bit as well. EPA per pass, we are at a positive 0.19. The Cowboys are at a positive 0.07. Although, Tim, Dak Prescott, 90.2 PFF grade, Jordan Love, 79.6. Both. These are two great quarterbacks here. Passer rating when clean, Jordan Love has been as good as he's ever been in his career at 136.9. Dak in a clean pocket, 96.0. Under pressure is where Love is struggling this year to 48.8. Dak is pretty cool hand Luke here at 66.9. Not horrible there. What do you think about all that information, Tim? You got the floor. Tell me how you feel about this.
I still don't understand how Dak is a 90.2 PFF grade with looking at the rest of his numbers. I'm not knocking Dak Prescott, but if Jay Money's at a 79.6, I don't see Dak being a 90.2. And of course, PFF won't explain how they that number anyway. No use wasting time on that. But I do think that when you look at the metrics, this is the opposite of what we dealt with Sunday with the Browns, right? We're dealing with a team now that their offense is their strong suit. The defense doesn't seem to be overly intimidating, kind of like Cleveland's defense looked on Sunday. So I would anticipate that when you look at, number of snaps, average offensive snaps, I would anticipate Dallas probably having less snaps, us hopefully controlling, the game through our defense and, allowing our offense to go out there and do what we know it's capable of doing. So I think, the power ranks with offense, that's the interesting part. You want to look and say, oh, this could be a shootout. But I do think our defense is going to answer the call and, play closer to that form that we saw them playing with in week 1 and 2, I think, down in Jerry World. So still think it's going to be a close game. That's why I hate doing score predictions, but I do see us getting back on track. But by no means is this going to be a boat race in either direction, I don't think.
Yeah, Jacob, the over-under is set at 47.5. Obviously, it's going to be played indoors at Jerry World. I could see the Cowboys. They score a lot of points, right? The best of my knowledge. I mean, they're not like a top 10 offense, but they're pretty solid. Jacob, I feel like Dak's played pretty good football, but now he's going to be without CeeDee Lamb. I think it's going to be a tough road to hoe for them. How do you see this, man?
Yeah, I agree. As far as the PFF grades go, it's just take it with a grain of salt. But like Jen said in the chat, she said something about that last game probably dinged his PFF grade. I agree with Tim, though. I don't think that Dak should be in that 90 region, but it's 3 games in, so that's liable to change and average out a little bit. I really did like what Sish said. We got to stop Javonte Williams. Got to get to Prescott, put pressure on Prescott and Pickens, then let the secondary do the rest. I think that's the perfect game plan right there. Obviously, not having CD is going to be a big issue for them, but we can't pretend like George Pickens is maybe, weird in the head and a certain type of character he may be. He's got a lot of talent. Talked about Turpin the other day has talent. Ferguson's got talent. Javonte Williams has talent. And it's Dallas, and they're playing against there's going to be a whole narrative going on where they're going to all, you listen to Parsons talk about how it's just another game. I'm sure most of the Cowboys guys are saying it's just another game. I think there's going to be a little more motive on both sides to go out there and play hard.
Yeah. Amelia, what do you think, man?
Yeah, it's going to be different than practice, right? Especially for Micah going back there playing against all the O-linemen again. But yeah, I think we can handle them. I still think Jordan's probably throws for 3. I think that, Josh or Emmanuel maybe gets 1 and will be 28, something like that. I don't think Dallas will get over 20, but they're going to put up some points. I feel like Dak's going to make that happen. Even if you throw it up to Pickens, I mean, I've seen that dude go over people and just pluck that thing. So it's not like you can't do that, even if you get into a pinch. The only thing with their offensive snaps, does the overtime carry over on that when they went into that overtime game with the Giants? Did those offensive snaps?
That's a great question.
They don't specify the average, so
it may be.
But that's another thing right there. 75. I mean, even if it's 65, even if they're throwing it more, we need to have that endurance up. That's why we need that defensive line, having the hockey line, changing them out, getting fresh legs out there. It's going to be important this game.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right, let's move along to the lineups. All right, let's start with our offense. Okay, I think we got it here. Actually, we do not. So let's start with our offense against their defense. Let's go with nickel here, okay? And I had a personnel update too. I don't have access to it right this moment, but the Packers ran a lot more 11 personnel this last game than they previously had. You guys know we had a fairly high number of 12 and 13 personnel plays. So we did press into 11 personnel in the second half of that game, which obviously it helped you put you in a position to win that ball game there coming down the stretch. Unfortunately, you couldn't pull it out. So with that being said, I think you're probably going to see us try to press into 11 a little bit more. Their run defense is much better than their pass defense. So go out there with your 11 and see how you match up there. Let's look how PFF has it here. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. Just to get a quick update on our offensive line. These are PFF grades on the year from left to right. Quay Walker, 54. Aaron Banks at left guard, 38. Elton Jenkins at center, 58. Sean Ryan at right guard, 59. And Anthony Belton, who they got plugged in as a starter right now, 51. Guys, those are Cheeks grades. And listen, it was 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, people were raving over the fact that nobody was getting back there and hitting Love. And now all of a sudden you look up and do we have an offensive line problem? Now, the main thing you see here when you take a look at this offensive line is obviously missing your best piece in Zach Tom, and that does hurt. But again, quick passing game, get the ball out quick. Don't be afraid to mix in more gun RPO action. I'd love to see that as well. So when you look at their defensive front from left to right, or actually from their perspective, from right end across to the left, you've got Ezaraku, 59.9, Kenny Clark, a 73.7. Say it for me, Emilio. You always have to pronounce that name.
Zua.
A Ziggy.
Diggy Zua.
Diggy Zua. Sounds like a dance we did in the 90s. Diggy Zua.
No diggity, no doubt.
That's exactly right, Tim. 77.5, and then Williams at the opposite edge position at a 47.1. Let's go around the horn with it real quick. We'll start with you this time, Emilio. How do you feel about our front against their front? Obviously, them showing here. Kenny Clark having a pretty darn good start to the season here, 73.7. And like you said, your boy
Diggy Zua.
You got it. Off to a fast start there as well. So their interior defensive line, in my opinion, Emilio, the strength of this defense.
Right.
Why not mix in a little outside run, a little power run?
But they wanted to lean on the inside run game, right? Because that's where they needed to stop it. If you're going to get rid of your pass rush, you got to stop it inside the tackles. Kenny and Odighizu are doing that. Their issue is the pass rush. So right now, I'm worried that Kenny knows a little bit about our O-line, kind of knows the way they lean, if your knuckles are white, kind of thing like that. So I think that there could be an issue inside the tackles, but I think we might be able to hold up on the outside. As a Raku, we did a lot on him. They just haven't seen enough from him. He came out of BC, right? So we did a lot of research on that, and I mean, it's not like he's bad, but he's just young. I just think that our O-line is looking rough right now. I mean, we built the wall, but man, it needs some foundation work. It needs some mortar in there. I mean, we need to upgrade this thing. All right. And they need a game to get right. This could be that game. Our run game is the problem. If we can't get that thing going, it's going to be a long season. We can't always rely on Love dropping back, swinging it to Kraft and Jacobs. Like, we need to be able to go downhill. Then, like,
especially when Love has 2 seconds or less on dropbacks, right?
Right. Yeah. And here we might need to get like Clayton was saying, we might need to do some stretch plays, some outside zones, something, toss crack, whatever. Even shoot, I'd be fine with the jet sweep here and there if it gets us, get the run just a spark or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like to Tim's point just though, I saw somebody in the chat, I lost it, but they said, Love has under 2 seconds in the pocket. Basically, he goes, that was the type of stuff that made Tom Brady break tables on the sidelines. So, it's not fair to sit here and try to criticize when they're not playing that well. I really want to highlight this. I don't know if this is real.
That's real.
Emilio, it's
Mom.
Dad said to tell you, go Cowboys. Happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm sure he's screaming, "Go Cowboys!" Absolutely, it'd be my mom said that she'd be rooting for the Packers, so it'll be a
Let's
house.
go, Mom. Let's go.
Mom.
We're on team Mom for sure.
There we go.
For sure.
I got to be honest with you, though, man. If we weren't playing the Cowboys, if it doesn't affect the Packers, knowing that Emilio's dad is a Cowboys fan, I'm kind of rooting for him behind the scenes. I just can't wait to get the Packers.
Nope.
Appreciate that.
Sorry, SA. No.
Sorry.
One thing.
We're gonna give him some.
In addition to the trenches needing to obviously play better, I like Coach Lynn talking about how the wide receivers need to block the better on the perimeter for this game as well, and I thought that was a good point.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, what do you think, man? How are you feeling about the trenches and just overall here? We can go to either position you want to here, man. Our offense against their defense.
I'm 100% in agreement with Emilio. I think there has to be a concerted effort to get the run game going, period. And we need to get these linemen blocking and moving and being aggressive and not back on their heels all the time. And this is, looking at Dallas's line, this might be the perfect game to do it. I agree. I would love to see some off tackle runs, maybe some, strong toss right, something like that. Use Tuck Norris out there to help out. And whether it's Josh Jacobs, E. Wilson, Brooks, or hell, Savion Williams for that matter. We saw him lined up sidecar a few times. Whatever it takes, but we got to get the wheels turning in the ground game, and it's going to take an effort. And I think Emilio makes a good point about Kenny Clark. Obviously, Kenny Clark's going to have a little inside baseball. He's familiar with what this line is trying to do. So if we know that, maybe we can use that against them and just find a way to work around it. But I really do believe that if we put that kind of pressure on this Dallas defense, it's going to really open up things in the passing game. We already talked about, they're banged up really bad in the secondary. I mean, we're looking at Diggs and Bland here on the chart. Strong chance neither one of those guys are on the field here. I think Bland might have the best chance to go. And then they look a little thin there at linebacker as well. So, I mean, I think the key would be to run right at that D-line, man. You may have to run in between the tackles just to keep them honest a few times, but I think we're going to generate the most success on the edge, like Emilio was saying. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. And again, their linebacking core looks pretty rough here. Murray Jr., 37.9, Sanborn, 52.7. So that's definitely a weak spot there. Utilize play action and take advantage of the fact that their linebackers are struggling quite a bit. If you get that thing stretched VC gap in either direction, boot action opposite, and get those guys stretching horizontally and then open up that second and third window down the field, I like our chances in the passing game. I kind of feel like this is going to be a big Jordan Love game, personally. I want to point out, we're talking about how bad the offensive line has played here recently, right? Jordan Love's still grading out as the 9th best quarterback in the league. That's pretty impressive, guys. Pretty darn impressive. Again, he's 4 points higher than where he was last year. Last year, he finished the season 75.8. He's a 79.6. And the big topic is the Packers' offensive line being banged up with injury and also struggling here recently. And again, does the offensive line struggle that bad last week if Zach Tom doesn't leave the game? I don't think they do. Aaron Banks, it's easy to look at that 38 and go, boy, he's cheeks. We whiffed on that. Guys, he hasn't been healthy since camp. He's been battling back injuries and this and that and the other. I'm not making excuses. I'm just being realistic here. Like, we keep rolling those guys out there banged up and expect them to play like nothing's wrong. Next thing you know, they're coming out of the game, and now we're a little light in the loafers when it comes to, backup offensive linemen. That's obviously a reason why they activated Brant Banks this week or signed him to the active roster, right? They were expecting, anticipating, hey, let's just sit Zach Tom down. But again, I think Love's poised to have a good game here against the Cowboys. I just don't want anyone to take that as, let's just go out there and throw it all over the yard. I'm with you, Tim. Establish the run, even if it ain't beautiful, keep them honest with the run. Let's set up some play action off of it. Stuff.
Absolutely.
Because getting that run game going is also closing out the game at the same time. If we get a 3-touchdown lead, I don't need Jordan Love dropping back still 50 times a game. I mean, we need to be able to get 3 yards of carry and keep the chains moving. Or
start digging in that swing pass bag a little bit. You can create a run game with some backfield passing creatively to kind of get things going. If you're just running into a wall all the time, I felt like I was waiting for those on Sunday in Cleveland, and we didn't really see much of that at all. So I'm wondering if Matt maybe goes and we start seeing some swing passes to Josh Jacobs out of the backfield. Or Savion Williams out of the backfield.
I think the one time they did do it, it was a pretty decent gain, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think we only had one. Yeah. Yep.
2-0 for this in the chat said Mike Wall made a video about how the Browns defense basically was able to key into the snap and we made no adjustments. That's the other thing. We're anticipating that being fixed this week, right? 2-0 for this. So it's just one of those.
You're going to have to if you're going against Kenny. I mean, he's not going to let a knee lift tell him not to rush. I mean, that was too. I would sit on that in modified football if I saw a dude doing that. You know what I mean? Like we need to be able to switch that up. Or I need Jordan to just scream it. Like if you need to scream that count out and you don't have a voice after every Sunday, that's fine. But if we need to figure something out there with the snap count.
I do want to give a shout out to Dontavion Wicks as if he watches this show. We know he does not. But a 2025 grade now, guys, 75.6. Wicks is the 8th highest graded receiver in the entire league. I'm telling you, man,
Wow.
the fact that people were raking him over the coals last year and he still graded out of 65, this dude, I am more convinced now than I've ever been that Dontavion Wicks is going to be a starting wide receiver on this team for the next 4 to 6 years. I think that they're planning on extending him after next year. Now, if he comes out next year and falls flat on his face, obviously all bets are off. But I think the stage is being set for him to get a decent contract, not a top 10 wide receiver contract, maybe not even a top 32 wide receiver contract. But this is going to be a guy that's involved in this team for a long time. I really believe that.
Reminds me a lot of another receiver named Tay that we had that everyone raked over the coals after year 2. He turned out pretty good too, if memory serves.
Who could that be, Tim? You're jumping my
Tay
memory.
Adams guy. You guys remember Tay Adams? Yeah, he played some good football for us.
See.
So again, just a look at the DBs here. Diggs, good chance he might not play. Well, I don't know. Was it him or Bland? I think it was Bland that was more likely to not play, I believe. Regardless, let's say they do play. They're their best corners. 50, 52. 54 at the safety position, Hooker, 57, Wilson, 52. The stage is set for Jordan Love to go out there and throw for 320, 330, something like that, have a couple of touchdowns, no picks, and let's cruise to a 10 to a 14-point win. However, you guys know how it is, man. The game is broken down into 3 segments, right? First quarter, you're gathering information. Did all of your prep, your 4-game saturation, last 2 head-to-head, does it match up with how the game is going? If not, you got to make that adjustment. So the first quarter, you're gathering intel. Second and third quarter is about 2 things, making your adjustment and then controlling the middle 8. Fourth quarter, standalone game. Throw the whole game plan out. What has worked up to this point? What hasn't? What adjustments did they make coming out of halftime? And you treat those last 15 minutes of the game as if it's a standalone game. That's what's going to determine whether Jordan has that type of day. And no way, shape, or form am I saying, oh, yeah, Jordan going to go out there and light it up. I am saying this looks like a game that has as much potential as any with the way the secondary is set up. So it's going to be exciting. I would like to see Wicks go off for about $130 and shut people up, too. That would be absolutely awesome. So, all right, that is your offensive preview. Let's jump over to the
deep. You go to get their 12 real quick. I just want to see.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You want to go to let's see here, 12. You're talking about our 12, right?
Yeah. I just wanted because Fowler came in. I was wondering if they had him in there. Dante Fowler Jr. He was actually their best. He graded out best for them last game at 83.3. 9 run defense, 13 pass rush. Just a guy you got to keep an eye on. And Matt leaning on 12 personnel, you kind of run into that a little bit more.
Got it, man. No, it's a good eye there. And obviously he's off to one of the best starts of his career, actually the best start of his career, right? He's grading out of 75. He's been pretty much in the 60s and 50s his entire career with the exception of 2019 where he was 72. So that's a good eye there, Emilio. We'll definitely keep an eye on Dante Fowler. I really don't see a Tuesday player here, though. Maybe Odiggy
Zua.
Maybe him, right? I mean, he's grading out as a top 15 defensive tackle. But other than that, I really don't see a Tuesday. I don't see Kenny Clark as a Tuesday player. Now, he's going to be as motivated as Micah Parsons is. There's no doubt about it. But I just don't see it being something like, boy, we got to double team that guy.
Right. Yeah. Last game against the Bears, Odiggy Zua was 3rd with a 71.3, and Kenny was 4th with a 69.8. So I mean, they're playing decent, but it's not anything that we need to stop the presses for.
Yeah, completely agree. Good out there, though, man. Appreciate you asking to pull that up. All right, let's jump over to our defense against their offense. Obviously, Dak Prescott, 90.2. This is your Tuesday player, and I know you guys will probably disagree with it. I think Dak's playing really good football. I think I've said that since I've started doing this podcast, and no one, the chat, nor you guys have ever agreed with me, so I'm probably wrong here. But a 90.2, he's off to a fast start according to PFF. So you just got to shut down that passing game. Now, in the backfield here, you've got Javonte Williams, a 72.9. On his career, 61, 63, 64, 75. So I expect him to cool off a little bit as the season goes along, I would imagine. So I'm not overly concerned about their running game. It's their passing game that I think can get hot. However, with CeeDee Lamb out, it's going to take another step back. So, again, the players you're looking to stop is going to be George Pickens. His PFF grade's a 71.5. Obviously, they got him listed at 6'3", 200, a big body receiver there, can go up and make those contested catches. You've got Kevontae Turpin in the slot, 73.5. He's gotten better every year he's been in the league, so this could be a breakout year for him. Undersized slot receiver at 5'9", 153 out of TCU. But definitely another player you want to keep an eye on. So for me, it's all about stopping the passing game. I would focus more on conceptually, what do they like to do in terms of route combinations rather than, hey, let's make sure we double this guy or a bracket cover here. Let's make sure we're putting ourselves in a position that, hey, when they come out in dubs, right? When they come out in dubs, whether it's a nasty split or not, they like to hammer a cab concept or whatever it may be, a digs concept. Let's make sure we're calling a defense that's going to bend to that side and take away that concept. So Dak Prescott has to go to the uncomfortable side of maybe throwing to Tolbert or even Ferguson, who got a lot of targets last game. I know people are thinking he's going to have a breakout game. He hasn't been great this year, but the thing to mention is the targets last week. You know what I mean, Jacob? Like he's a guy that it seems like Dak Prescott, with all the targets, he seems to feel comfortable going to Jake Ferguson when CeeDee's not out on the field.
Yeah, that's just what Ron was talking about here, and I agree as far as him not necessarily being a dominant player, not a blue chip, anything like that, Tuesday player, whatever you want to call him, but he's getting a lot of targets. So if we can take that away, obviously that's going to be big. Joe went on to say, I know we're worried about Ferguson at tight end, but do they have to chip him in the line? Ain't enough, and it won't be enough. So, I mean, yeah, Coach says Ferguson's slow. But, I mean, I really do think we got the backers that can run with them. You know what I mean? And even if we are worried about him and that safety room, obviously, I would see that they don't let him get down the seams. And if we can bottle that one guy up, then it definitely lets our defense kind of attack a little more. I just want us to get back to – I saw a few different comments in the chat where they're saying, I didn't see us swarming like we were in the first 2 weeks, where it's like at any given play you could pause and you would just see the head count was insane.
And I'll tell you why you didn't see that. That's called man coverage.
Man coverage.
I was just going to say, for the love of God, please back off the man coverage down in Jerry World, because if we run as many cover one man looks as we did against Cleveland, we're going to get torched again.
Yeah. And our EPA per drop back in terms of pass defense is still solid, right? We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth in the league at a minus 0.09. But notice, guys, cover one man is up to 20% of the defensive snaps now. You want to keep that around 15%, in my opinion. So, like Tim said, back off that. That's why you don't have as many guys swarming to the ball there last week as you have in the past.
I'm not saying we don't play any man. I'm just saying you get very selective with your man looks. And we've had success under Hafley with mixing in those man looks in the past. But if we lean on it like we did in Cleveland, man, it's gonna bite us.
And it bit you in the rear end in the fourth quarter when it mattered.
Sure did. Yep.
Now, Emilio, notice this, dude. Let's see, and I haven't double-checked this before the show. We're running 14% cover 6 right now, 35% cover 3. That 14% cover 6 and 20% cover 1 man, right? Those are the two numbers we want to key in on. Cover 1 man, 20%. Last year, we ran cover 1 man 16%, right? So 4% less on average. Now, when you look at the cover 6 last year, we ran at 12%. This year, we're at 14%. So it's pretty on par, right? What are we doing different here when you really look at this? Cover 3, 35, cover 2, 20, if that's right. So we're playing way more cover 2 zone, it looks like. Or we played way more cover 2. No, not really. Right?
No, we're about the same all the way across the board. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is he's leaning on cover 1 man a little bit more.
It's kind of strange. Do you think so? It's kind of strange.
Yeah, because I have more faith in our guys if we're one-on-one and we're bringing the house. Like, look at the Vikings up top. They're at 4% cover 0, man. You're bringing the house. Everyone's manned up. Cover 1 man, they're at 6. Cover 2 man, they're at 3. Altogether, they're only at 13% man coverage. We're at 21% man. So you're asking your guys to do a little bit more. I'd rather lean on everybody's eyes forward and, rally to the ball than, all right, 3rd and 7, or maybe we want to bring some heat, or, 3rd and 14, you can still play cover 4, keep everything in front of you, get it done, blitz them on first down, something like that. But yeah, Hafley just maybe got a little bit, too deep into the cover 1 man, and that's just because he has faith in his guys, and I appreciate that. But maybe we just need to take a step back. Hey, where are we down in distance? All that stuff.
I'd like to see some more of this if we could.
Yes, sir.
Haven't seen much of this in a few weeks.
Yeah. They definitely tapered off last week. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, man. It really didn't, because I felt like the only way Cleveland was going to stay in that game is if they got the running game going. And then lo and behold, even playing a lot of cover 1 man, you felt, well, we're containing their run pretty good, right? The defense played good. I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way. However, that one explosive play that got loose where Edgerrin Cooper got bear hugged from behind, blocked in the back and held on the same play. They didn't throw the flag. That was cover 1 man, and that was an explosive for whatever it was, 34 yards to set up the first points of the game with that field goal for the Cleveland Browns. So, yeah. Let's see. Deadfish says Green Bay has the number 1 scoring defense, averaging 14.7 points a game, probably under 7 points a game for the first 55 minutes. That's a great observation there, Deadfish. Great observation. Just got to clean it up there toward the end for sure. There was something else we're going to hit on here. There was something in the chat I have marked. Where's it at? Sixish said, I think you marked this, Jacob. Thank you so much, buddy. Who will play for Bullard? Jacob, you're the big Bullard guy, man. Tell me, let's assume Bullard's out. Who are you putting in the slot? How's your DBs going to look like? Give me your nickel 4-2-5 cornerbacks on the field. How would you play?
I would probably lean with wanting Hobbs to slide in there. Hobbs or Nixon, and then get Carrington in here with more snaps, and whoever else isn't playing in the slot, throw him on the outside. I like the way that Hobbs plays ball. The last game was a little suspect. I saw I don't want to say he was pulling up on certain plays and maybe just looked a little lost in the wash sometimes, but I like his sort of physicality that he plays with, aggressivity, if you will.
Built to ass.
Yeah, I kind of like what Coach is saying here, CV and Nixon on the perimeter, and then put Hobbs in there. Not so cool coming in hot, Melton at the slot. Oh, boy.
Whoa. Hold on there. Hold on.
So I love what you said about Carrington Valentine. Many people don't know this, guys. He is grading out a 77.4. He's had 131 snaps, right? He's the 3rd highest graded defender on this football team. He's the 11th highest graded corner in the league. Keyshawn Nixon is 6th in the league at a 78.4. So
but it's more realistic to move Keyshawn to a slot role than it is, I think, to put Bo in the slot at this point. That's just my take on it. I'd rather have Bo on the boundary.
See, the way I would play this is, let's assume Bullard's out. I'm putting Hobbs in the slot, keep Keyshawn out there where he's comfortable. That's where he's played his best football since last year, trickling right into this year. I completely agree with you, Jacob. And like you said, now throw Carrington Valentine out there. This is probably going to be a hot take too. My opinion, if Javon Bullard wasn't a 2nd-round pick, he would not be starting. If he was a 5th-round pick, he would not be starting on this defense. That's my personal opinion. I think you would have Hobbs in the slot. You'd have Carrington on the boundary. And then whenever you go to your base set, those rare, however many it is, 15, 20% of the defensive snaps, I think you pull Carrington off the field and put Hobbs out there just because you're paying him that money. I know that's not going to be a popular opinion, but I feel very, very, very confident in how I feel about that I think the best starting defense would be Hobbs in the slot, Carrington on the outside, and Bullard being your number 1 option off the bench to come in at the slot. That's just me personally. So I'm sure I'll get hateful messages after the show, and that's okay. So, I want to point out, though, somebody pointed out earlier with the pass rush, man, Parsons' 4th highest pass rush grade in the league. You see, he's just been elite his entire career. Jeez. Yeah, he's a 90.1 this year. Since he came into the league, 89, 91, 92, 90, 90.1. Obviously, his big statistics are the pressure percentage he's getting is just astronomical right now, right? He's drawing a lot of attention and everything. On the other side, PFF has Gary at a 68.2, even though he's leading the NFL in sacks, which is wild to think about. And again, 2 of those 4.5 sacks, pretty much half of his sacks came with Micah Parsons on the sideline. So spare me it's only because Micah's on the field. That's a bunch of BS. Gary's having a great year. PFF has not been a big fan of Gary his entire career. You guys can go back and pull a tweet. When they originally drafted him, they had the hot take on Twitter that said, basically, Chase Winovich is going to be a much better pro and be in the league longer than Rashawn Gary. If you guys don't remember, they were teammates at Michigan. Yeah. And for whatever reason, PFF has not liked Gary since he came in the league. They just couldn't deny it in 2021 where I think he had a 20% whatever it was, pressure rate or something crazy. It was right at 20%. So Gary off to a very fast start along with Micah Parsons. Also, Devontae Wyatt in the middle here was 71.5. 77.8 pass rush grade. I think we got our 3-tech. I feel very comfortable that we got our 3-tech. It doesn't mean you don't keep swinging in the draft and try to find another 3-tech. You never have too many 3-techs, just like you can never have too many edge defenders, right? But I'm feeling really good about where Wyatt's at. What's your all's take on that?
Excited.
Yeah, I guess more than anything, I'm more surprised that his pressure rate is pretty impressive too, right? I mean, we've got a bunch of guys. I can't remember the exact schematic I sent you, Clayton, where it was one of those XY axis type things. And of course, in the far right corner was Myles Garrett, an absolute football field away from everyone. Then it was Micah Parsons, super far away from everyone. And then in that little grouping, there was LVN, there was Gary, and there was it was just for edge rushers. But if you look in the D tackle pressure rate and percentage and all that win rate, I think he's right up there, if not one of the best. And if he doesn't hurt that knee late in that game, who knows what could have happened with his stat line now too.
Right. And you don't see LVN on these graphics. I just switched to the base to see who it put in. Kobe Wooden, 72.1. He's the 28th best defensive tackle. That's your 1-tech, right? Nice. He and Carl Brooks are your 1-tech. Now, LVN isn't showing up because they don't have him listed as a starter here. LVN, guys, 74.2 PFF grade. He's the 34th highest graded edge defender in the league right now. So I just wanted to mention that. Emilio, what do you got to add to this? Now I'm going to turn it over to Tim. We're going to talk a little Quay Walker here in a second.
Love that. Yeah, our front men, we need to get some pressure on deck this week. You're going to have to bring 4. You're going to want to kind of stay in coverage, make him make those passes, sort of thing. Maybe bring some of that sim pressure that you did a lot last year, but you didn't need to rely on a lot at the beginning of this year. But sprinkle that back in. Excited about Wyatt. I think that he's really stepping up. And Wooden, man, I got to give some respect to my man. I'm sorry that we were doubting you because you've been killing it. I've seen him down there. He's not afraid to line up, head up over the center. He's played that no tackle role. He gets in there and gets dirty. So appreciate him. Glad that it's worked out.
Talk about a guy who put in the off-season work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kobe Wooden, for sure. I mean, you just look at the grades and you can see the drastic change. I think it's a testament of his off-season program. And then he had a really good camp as well and has just kind of hit the ground running and continues to play really, really good football. And, I think that's a pleasant surprise, right? I think caught a lot of us off guard. We were talking about him possibly being a bubble guy at one point. Right. And lo and behold, he's proven to be really reliable. And then, I think that combined with the way, Devontae Wyatt has stepped up is probably why Goody went ahead and greenlit the trade with Kenny going to Dallas, just because we had that confidence between, Wooden, Brooks, and Wyatt there in the middle. So.
Definitely. Let's focus on backer here. I'm going to stay with you here, Tim. This is exciting stuff. As Ron Sample said, did you guys talk about Quay being one of only 2 linebackers with 25 chances to make a tackle to not have a missed tackle? So Quay's tackling ability this year is on point. And also when you look at the PFF grade, he's now the 21st highest graded backer in the league, higher than Edgerrin Cooper, a 70.4. And again, contract offers on the table. The way he's playing right now, according to PFF, maybe that's why he hasn't signed that thing yet. He's looking for Goody to sweeten that deal a little bit more. But what do you think about Quay, man? Off to a good start here.
I love it. I've been carrying the Quay Walker torch for 4 years now, and I'm proud of my boy, my Georgia Bulldog, man. I think you're right. It's a contract year, right? So it's an audition. And, hey, I think the Packers are content to let him continue to ball out. And I think Goody will get something done. It'll be something that will make sense for both parties. I think Quay's going to get a little bit of the bag, as the kids say. Give that man the bag. But I don't think it's gonna set us back or anything, or it maybe not be super long term, but it will keep Quay Walker here for the foreseeable future on a better contract. And he has proven to be steady Eddie, as Jacob would say. And really, we've gotten that from all of our backers, honestly, this year. I think Zay McDuffie's been playing damn good football this year for us, both as a special teamer and still out there grinding it away. Whether he's, the Will or the Sam, he's just proven to be a tackling machine, great in the run fits. And actually, honestly, his pass coverage at a 59.8 is actually an improvement, I believe, for him too. So that's a pleasant surprise. And then, but yeah, what can you say about Quay Walker though? A guy that's been through a lot of ups and downs. You talk about a guy who's been raked over the coals by the fan base. And Quay has kept his head down and continued to grind, coming back really nicely from that injury that kind of cheated him of a lot of reps during camp. And he's playing really good football for us right now.
So, Tim, are you trying to say
Pay that man his money?
Well, I'm not trying. I've been saying that. I've been saying that. I kind of figured they wouldn't exercise the option on him, and that this is kind of how this would pan out. And I think, like I said, it'll be somewhere in the middle. He'll get his money, but nothing that anyone should freak out.
I wouldn't be surprised if we find out after the deal's done that Tim was actually Quay's agent the whole time. So, anything else you guys want to hit on defense here before we wrap this thing up, man? This has been fun. I want to give a shout out to Sixers. Says this is the best channel for Packers content, straight up PTA and Basarski. We appreciate the kind words there, but I'm a big Baz fan too, man. You guys, that's a great channel. If you haven't checked it out, I'm sure you have. If you found this channel, make sure you go check out Baz over at Basarski Productions for sure. So thank you for the kind words there, Sixers. Anybody got anything else on defense here? Anything at all? Is there anything we missed?
I mean, what would you be comfortable now as far as a contract for Quay? Chris the Casual and Inside says Quay gets 4 years, 56 mil. I don't know
Pay
necessarily.
that man his money.
I'll let y'all go around the horn with it.
What's your annual per? I mean, I guess I don't quite know what the going rate for
50 years, $550 million.
You guys go around the horn with it. I'm going to pull up Spot Track and see what they've got across
I have no idea what Spot Track's going to say. I'd be happy with 4 at 50, probably 12 and some change per year. I mean, Quay deserves it. I think that he's gotten a lot of heat and now slack. And when he finally gets a good running mate, and you see how fast his defense can be, he's starting to take off. And again, I think you kind of get him back a little bit more to facing on the ball. He did play a couple slot snaps and stuff like that. Manned up and everything, but I like when we have a lot more eyes on the quarterback and in zone more than when we have to put him in man like that.
Well, it seems like he's just been playing complimentary football because, like you said, now we finally have an amazing edge rotation, another guy that's just an absolute stud and Coop behind him. Obviously, we have a field general and X right behind him as well. So maybe they took a little bit off his plate. And it seems like that everybody, if you look at these PFF grades, has kind of elevated their game this year. And maybe you can't pin it on one player. I know most people would probably say Parsons, obviously, because that's just kind of in vogue to do. But I think that they're just playing complementary football with each other's skill set. And it's just letting a lot of them run free.
Yeah. Here is the contract averages for stack backers across the league, okay? So, again, this doesn't mean it's their cap hit. It just takes – if you take the overall contract value divided by the years, this is what the numbers come out to, okay? So, which essentially you guys are saying, like you said, Emilio, maybe $10 million per, right? You'd be willing to pay that.
Yeah, I said 4 at 50, so it'd be like 12. It'd be up to 12 and a half-ish. I mean, dropping him around Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and Azeez Al-Shaair, I'm good with that.
And for everybody on the pod, Fred Warner leads the way at $21 million per, Roquan Smith $20 million per, Tremaine Edmonds $18 million per, Zach Bond $17, Nick Bolton $15, Jamian Sherwood $15, Patrick Queen $13.6, Jeremiah
Owusu-Koramoah.
Oh man,
Emilio's just on it.
Azeez Al-Shaair 11.3, and then rounding out the top 10 is Dump Truck Spillane, Robert Spillane at $11 million. So you would basically be saying, all right, we're willing to pay Quay as the 7th or 8th highest paid stack backer in the league. That seems a little rich for me, but Again, it doesn't matter what we think he's worth. The market determines what a player's worth. You either want the player or you don't. Now, you guys know my rule of thumb. You're willing to overpay for great. You're not willing to overpay for good, right? Do we think Quay's great or is he good? Right now, how he's playing, he's on the verge, in my opinion, of breaking into great, but he's still not there yet. So that's what makes this so tricky, right? If Goody somehow, some way, Goody and Russ Ball get him for 8 or 9 million per, I'm all about it. When you get north of 10 million, I start getting a little bit, I don't know. I just don't know, because you've also got Tyron Hopper, who can't see the field because of these guys, and he was a 3rd-round pick. Now, will he play better than Quay? Not with the way Quay's playing this year, I don't believe. But you guys remember that was another player we were buzzing about coming out of camp, was Tyron Hopper. So,
Tyron Hopper ran into the Zay McDuffie factor. I think the fact that Zay McDuffie has just been playing so good, it's what's kind of costing Tyron Hopper some snaps. You know,
it's a great point. Great point, man.
Clayton, you're the cap expert here for sure. Do you think there's a way that they could incentivize Quay to seemingly take, I don't want to say a team-friendly deal, but maybe a deal that gets him a lot more money up front in those first couple of years, and then they kind of structure it in a way where, as we always say, if it's a 4-year contract, it's a 3. If it's a 3, it's a 2. And then, like we said, we've got guys, pardon the pun, but we got Hopper in the hopper. We got Cooper, that's obviously going to be a staple here. Guys like Isaiah that are showing up to play that, maybe that we don't quite feel the need to have to pay him such a longer and maybe like a substantial, because like to your point, I mean, you look at that list of guys there, I'm more comfortable in the 8 to 10 mil per area. But if Quay thinks, I feel like I'm a top 10, top 5, whatever type guy that he wants to get paid, like, how do you kind of remedy that?
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look. I'm trying to find a good comp here. Let's go with Patrick Queen, the 13.6 contract average, right? And I'll try to answer your question this way. So he got the most recent contract here. Let's see, it's 23 through 23. His most recent contract was a 3-year extension, right? And this may get a little bit difficult for y'all to read, but I need to see these numbers on the opposite side here. So when you look at how his contract is structured here, you're looking at a cap hit, $6.1 million his first year, okay? 17.6 the second year, 17.1 the third year. Obviously, they're in year 2. The cap hit is 17.6 million. So when you look at the guaranteed money he signed, he got a 3-year, $41 million deal. Okay, let's say we're willing to give Quay. We want to get that closer to a $30 million deal, right? The signing bonus they gave him, being Patrick Queen, was $11.5 million. So what you could do to lower that overall value number is give more guaranteed money, cash over cap. They're more inclined to sign a deal that gets more guaranteed money as opposed to just overall contract value. Therefore, you can lower the cap hit a touch, but you're paying a higher check out, and you're on the hook for a bigger cap penalty if you decide to cut bait, right? So for me, if you were to structure it this way, let's say we're going to go, like Emilio said, let's say it's 4 years, 12 million per, right? You might be able to get that down to 10 million per if you take the guaranteed money. In this case, guaranteed at signing for Patrick Queen was 13.8. And again, we're kind of going back a year or two, so the numbers aren't going to line up perfectly. Just theoretically speaking, maybe you'd be willing to give Quay 20 million at guaranteed, right, off say another 4 or 5 million off the overall contract. That makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. I think the floor for Quay is 12 million a year. I don't think he's going to take it to 10 million a year.
And I think I agree with you, Tim. And that's where I'm kind of like, ugh. I don't know if I'd be willing to do it. You're getting in that.
But maybe it's how close can we get to that number, right. And maybe there is, wiggle room, or like, Jacob suggested, maybe it's a big fat paycheck right away. Nothing smooths over a negotiation like a bunch of money up front, however you can get it done. But I think Quay probably believes he's worth at least 12 million a year. I mean, Patrick Queen's getting 13.6, I like what Deadfish says here, Tim. This is a good gauge of where the Packers are at. The Packers declined the option for the 2026 season, which would have cost $14.7 million. Keep in mind, it's fully guaranteed, but if you're talking simple cap allocation, that's a good measuring stick of they don't think he's worth $14.7 million per, right? Right. So the question is he worth 12? Do they think he's worth 12?
Right. Exactly. And if they do, does Quay think, no, I need to be closer to Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, or Tremaine Edmonds, right? If he thinks he should get $15 million per on average over, we're talking about a reversed conversation here. What we were just saying, Emilio, with more guaranteed money to lower the cap hit, or Jacob asked that, I believe it was, you could go the opposite direction and go, yeah, we'll give you more average annual value, but less guaranteed. Therefore, that 4-year deal that was typically a true 3-year deal might be a 4-year deal that's really a 2-year deal, or even a 1-year deal. Very, very much so like the Aaron Banks contract that we gave him. Everybody said, whoa, $77 million. When you look at the true structure of the contract, you can get out of it after 1 year, essentially. So,
yeah.
J. Cole says, he says, I think they're at 12. I don't know who they are, Jay, if you're saying the Packers are at 12 or them both in general are closing in on 12. If that's the number they end at, that's a lot more tolerable for me than the 15 million. But again, I understand what Tim's saying. I don't think Quay's going to take less than 10 million per.
So. I don't either. I think the further north of 10 million you are, the more likely he is to sign, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And you finally get to see what having double speed is like in there, at Stack. And the fact that you rely on Quay so much, he stays in every single play of the game unless he's hurt. He's in that game. Green dot, all that. Yeah.
We're leaving that out, right? We conveniently glossed over the fact that this is your signal caller on the defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and J. Cole said he was talking about the Packers are at 12 million. I think that's a very, very fair deal for Quay personally. Now, it's not to say he doesn't. If he thinks he deserves more, who am I to say, he shouldn't feel like that? It's silly, right? Go get all the money you can, big fella, But that 12 is, if the Packers are offering 12 million per, and let's say it's 15 million fully guaranteed at signing, I can tolerate that. I'm good with that. Now, if Quay's saying, no, give me the 12 million per and 20 million at signing, we're probably got a problem there, right? So, nonetheless. Go ahead, man.
Sorry. What do you think about Nick McSwain's comment here saying, like 8 months ago, we were talking about him not being on the team. I'd like to see more before committing a ton of money.
It's a very good point, Nick. We're 3 weeks into the season, right? And when you say we were talking about that, I think I was talking about that. I don't want to put words in anybody else's mouth. I don't think Tim was feeling like it. Tim is since day one.
That wasn't Tim.
Yeah, Tim feels like, Quay's, one of the better backers in the league. And, I'm not saying I'm right and he's wrong. And I'm sure he's not saying he's right and I'm wrong, but it's like if we were negotiating this, Tim, you're thinking probably 15 million per. Am I wrong there? Or do you think maybe a little less? I think less.
I think Quay would like to be at or higher than 12 to and there's lots of ways to get there, right? That can be 10 million salary plus incentives, whatever, signing bonus. Yep. There's ways to do that. I think where most of the fans' concern is we've got guys like Kraft and Reed, and there's other players that need to get their money too. And you worry about what does that mean if you like you said, if you overpay in certain areas, what does that do to the rest of your roster? That being said, though, Quay doesn't strike me as a guy that wants anything more than just what he feels that he's worth. I don't see him being overly greedy during these negotiations. I think if it's something in the wheelhouse, there's a chance they get a deal done. And maybe that does mean a 4-year deal that's really a 3-year deal, or whatever it has to be to make sense for us going down the road. But I do feel like we don't have an immediate answer. If Quay Walker's if he's not a Packer next year, then you're just going to slap the green dot on Tyron Hopper, obviously
I think it'd be Edger and Cooper.
Yeah,
I think that would definitely be Coop.
Could be Zay McDuffie. We know if Quay wasn't playing now, it'd probably be McDuffie would probably have the green dot. And then you couple that in with the fact of possibility of Coach Half getting a promotion somewhere, and
don't say that. You don't say that.
There's lots of things that we have to kind of let unfold here, but I don't think it's. I think it's a little naive to just be like, let him walk, whatever. It's like I don't know. I don't feel that good about what's coming up behind him. So I think, it would help us if the Packers are willing to negotiate, which clearly they are. The talks are ongoing, and Quay's just doing what Quay does. He's going out and playing football, and that's what you want from your guys. So
yeah,
I don't think we just let him go.
He's definitely handled it the right way. And you and I, we 100% we disagree on this. We're pretty far apart on how we feel about Quay, and that's totally cool. But Quay has handled it the right way. He's keeping his mouth shut, letting the agent handle it. He's just going out there and trying to play ball. Now, when you look at his passer rating when targeted, that's why I have a hard time paying him like a top 10 backer. It's pretty rough. I want to say going into last week, it was 140 was his passer rating when targeted. Now, again, is there some maneuverability there? Like, hey, if you go and actually watch every individual snap, it's not as bad as that number looks. You'll probably find that if you dove into the tape, that it's not as bad as that 140 sounds, but he's definitely not up there in that upper echelon of like top five backers and things like that. And I was just going to say the argument I was going to make. Well, first of all, somebody mentioned he's a captain too, guys. The coaches appointed him a captain. That lends a lot of credence to Tim's side of the argument for sure.
Yeah.
But I was going to say your defense is very, very strong. If there's a place that you could absorb a loss of letting a guy walk, freeing up that cap space or not tying that cap space up, and you're modeling your roster, I'd be okay with just paying one stack backer. And in this case, you're saving money if Quay does walk, and then you end up signing Edgerrin Cooper to a long-term deal. But as you guys pointed out, and Jacob's going to say it again, you don't say that. If Hafley isn't here and the defense takes a step back, and now you don't have Quay, you don't have Hafley, that's a scary place to be, So it's a good conversation, though. I'm glad
you could even make it a 4-year deal out in 2, and you'd be ready to pay Coop in 2, kind of thing. I mean, you can make that sort of wiggle like that too, not a problem.
That's the beautiful thing about the contract structures. Sorry, Jacob, but when you look at how they're structured positionally, you can see where they're looking to bridge. Okay, we can get out of this one in 2 years, step right into this one in 2 years, and we're off and running. Yeah, go ahead, Jacob. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no, you're good. I like what Coach Lynn says in a 2 back-to-back comments here. He says, watch Russ Ball cook. So just that. And he brings up another thing. Like you said, you might have to pay other guys. Well, what if Jenkins, they decide to part ways from him? And all of a sudden that frees up a little cap space. And then to Emilio's point, you can still wiggle some stuff around. So you pay Quay and you get Coop. And who knows, man? I mean, that guy, every time we think that it can't be done, we turn around, the headlight comes out, we read between the crosstabs, and you're like, holy, that son of a, you did it again.
Yeah. It can always be done, man. It's just, like I said, the cap is not fake. I'm not one of those guys. Okay. The cap is not fake, but it is very, very, very time sensitive, meaning you just have to know what the modeling is moving forward. How are you going to model your roster out? How are you going to project your roster out and be prepared if plan A falls through, plan B's in place, and you're 2-3 years ahead, knowing exactly how the cap's going to fall into place? That's the main thing. Some of these teams, they kick it out, and then you look up, and for 3 or 4 years, they're in absolute cap hell. They always get under on the cap, but they're not fielding the team that they originally had planned to field because they got behind the 8 ball, and that it's very, 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 very date sensitive is the best way to describe it. So. Yeah, it's a good conversation, though. I'm glad we brought it up. Thank y'all for that. So, anything else, boys? Let's get out of here. Let's wrap this thing up, man. Anything else y'all want to hit on before we go?
Happy birthday, Emilio.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate it, man.
That's about it.
I'm good. No,
that was
I'm
very,
good.
very seductive way to say happy birthday.
Yeah,
I'm gonna sing him the real happy birthday song.
Come to your birthday party.
I like to think that the light at the bottom of that. Put that back up there, Tim. It almost looks like candles on a birthday cake. Like they're celebrating around the birthday cake. I can't wait till the day that somebody shows Travis Glover this. I'm like, what the hell are they doing?
What is he gonna say? I think he's gonna he's gonna have like a little I don't know, maybe a.
He's gonna get a restraining order against you.
Yeah, I could think that. Yeah, but hey, it's just all in support and love for the man. I think he's got it, man.
I think his reaction would be.
How's Brett Favre doing here?
No, it ain't. No, that's the wrong one. This one.
There we go.
All in love there, Travis. Not that kind of love either, Bob. You know what I mean?
Sure.
No Diddy. I'm just saying. Emilio's a big fan. That's all that picture means. And we created it. He did not. It'd be different if that was his Facebook profile picture. I mean, it's a totally different ballgame. So, all right, guys, we're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, PTA live at 6:30 p.m. See Jacob popping out of the cake. I just imagine Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live. Remember, he was a Chippendale dancer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be back tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Central for PTA Live. We're going to do the game plan, and I'm going to continue to add to it over the next 24 hours. It's just going to be a very, very in-depth breakdown of how this matchup. We showed you the PFF matchup. Now we're going to go through and talk about specifics, how you want to attack this defense, some of the strengths, weaknesses, maybe some things that we might be overlooking. But guys, appreciate y'all hanging out with us, man. This was a lot of fun for sure. Shout out to Bates for the super chat. John Baker becoming a member here on YouTube as well. Appreciate y'all more than you know. We'll see you tomorrow. PTA Live, 6:30 p.m. Central. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Talk to you soon.
Here we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.